Excellent. Hi everyone, I'm Callum, your friendly neighbourhood front-end principal, currently working at ANZ with Bock and Pat. And I've got a talk on yearly themes and alternative to goal setting. Now, I'm trying a new presentation format where I have AI generated all of the images, well, most of the images in the slides, and I decided to pick the most hilariously bad ones. So please call out in the Slack group or the chat on YouTube when you notice extra fingers and things that don't look quite right. I also make these slides and my presenter notes and everything available open source. They'll be on my website, which is csi.lk. I don't have them up yet, but I will soon. So that's also available open source on GitHub. And I'll do the whole speaker deck thing and stuff like that. If you want to catch me on any socials, I don't really have any that I look at, if I be honest. You can look at me on LinkedIn or just grab me through my website. Okay, enough preamble. We know where the emergency exits are, we're good. Okay, starting off. Resolution. How many people set a New Year's resolution? Can I get a show of hands? Just Pat. Just one, no. Quite a few people, right? And I assume that maybe a few of them have already failed by now. Clock strikes 12, and in 2025, I decided that I wanted to drink a lot less. I then had friends from Scotland arrive, and I asked them what was the main thing they wanted to do in Melbourne, and they said, we want to check out as many breweries as possible. So that resolution was kind of short-lived. And yes, I'm up for having a drink afterwards as well. But you know what makes me feel better? It's not just me that's already hit this problem. Many people share where I'm currently at. Let's look at gyms in two numbers. 12.5% and 80%. 12.5% of yearly new gym sign-ups are in January, and 80% of those sign-ups cancel their membership before mid-year. Or, as the old joke goes, I'm going to open a place that's a gym for 2 months and a bar for 10 months and call it resolutions. So why is this a common experience for everyone? And I include this graph just because I love the pun Auld Lang's line, but it shows the trend line, right? New Year's resolutions suck. A significant amount of people set goals before the end of the year, then bail out on that goal as soon as they hit an issue. Like, random example, friends from Scotland coming to town. So what does work? Hey, it's the name of the talk, themes, yeah, rainbow and happy. Give yourself a theme. Hey Callum, what are you talking about? What's this theme thing? So the whole idea is, instead of setting yourself up to fail with, I'm going to stop drinking next year, or I'm going to read one book a week at least, we can abstract the theme with something like Year of Health or Year of Reading. Now, if that sounds a bit broad, that's kind of the point, because what we're worried about here is the trend line going up. If the trend is going in the right direction, then so are you. Or as James Clear puts it in his book Atomic Habits, if you get 1% better each day for a year, you'll end up 37 times better by the time you're done. Now, there's a lot of good presentations by James Clear available on YouTube. I'd suggest having a look at as well. Sidebar. Okay. So, how does a theme help? 122. You make on average 122 informed decisions every day. Informed, like active decisions, like what should I eat for lunch, and when am I going to run out on this talk and go down the fire escape, and how much pizza should I eat from up the back? Our theme gives us the decision framework to fall back on for each one of these choices. For example, if my theme is Year of Health and I get asked whether I want to go to the pub for lunch, I now have a framework to help me make that choice. The health choice is maybe to eat my packed lunch in the fridge. Or if I do go to the pub, maybe I can get a salad on top of my burger. But the point here is, for each of these 122 decisions, we use our theme as a framework to push our trend line upwards. All right, personal example. Hey, it's me. Not AI generated, by the way. So I just moved jobs to the ANZ one I talked about. Bought a house, which required a bunch of work, and my wife and I were talking about having children. I needed to focus on getting my life in order. So I did, as we all do, of I'm going to do N things in tea time, right? So I set those goals of I'm going to exercise N times a week, and I'm going to cook N meals a week. But I wanted something that would work, because I had done this previously and nothing ever happened, or I had the same resolution problem of hitting issues after a while. So I came up with my theme of year of stability, focusing on how do I set my life up to be as stable as possible. So I made a bunch of branching path choices that ended up with a fully painted nursery, which is pictured here, solar panels, a bunch of new recipes, a new hatred for weightlifting. But what was really interesting was that stability started to take on more meaning. I started focusing on strengthening my relationships with friends, putting dedicated couple time in my calendar, and changing my work approach to take myself out of critical paths. Because the point here is a good theme can't fail. It's a broad direction set to navigate your life, whether it's your personal life or your work life. And sidebar, yes, that is a ship sailing on a sea of beer. I just want to make that clear. Geez, I'm getting thirsty now. All right, how do we make this practical, right? We're engineers, the people in the future, hello, who are watching this. How do I get started? Pretty straightforward template, right? 3 parts: theme, why, and ideal outcomes. We actually start with the why. So what would I like to change or improve upon? Or when I've worked with mentees around this, I'll say, what do you really want to change and why do you really want to change it? And you need to be honest with yourself in this process. This is for you at the end of the day. So example, why? I'm spending too much time doom scrolling TikTok and my concentration's all over the place. I'm sure that doesn't apply to any of us here. And this is my year to reduce my screen time and get back into reading, and I want to find a community to progress with. Great. We've got our why, so let's work backwards towards our broad directional phrase, right? So, year of reducing screen time, bit too specific and clunky. Year of focus is good, but I wanted it to be about reading, so year of reading. Point here is iterate on this. Talk to your friends and family. It's hard to read. It's hard to read the label from inside the bottle, right? And come up with something that resonates with you for the year. So year of reading is an example. We can now define what our ideal outcomes look like. So what are ideal outcomes? We pick high-level deliverables that are easily achievable, really. Essentially, they act as a guide to refer to what we need. And we can change them as we go, but they're not gospel is the point. So, for example, with my year of reading, I could have, well, I want to read 12 books, and I want to join a book club, and set up screen time on my phone. You guys get it. So, if you don't hit the outcomes throughout the year, that's okay. Like, progressing is the point, right? This is something you refer to, but as I said, you don't set it as gospel. All right, another quick example. So, year of health as an example. My why, I want to improve my sleep and general health so I can keep up with my daughter rather than being tired all the time. Jeez, a bit too honest about that one today. This year I want to focus on good nutrition, building more active time into my day, and sleeping better. So I could have outcomes like complete a 10K run. I don't know why I wrote that. I've never run a day in my life. Meal prep my lunches, my clothes fit better. You guys get the idea. Now, Callum, this feels very life coachy, but how do I relate it to work? Or how do I relate it to my my job as an engineer or my work life? I guarantee, I can leave this slide up for longer. Everybody's sniggering at it. Because I guarantee your theme will also be applicable to your work. If it's year of reading, it could consist on learning a new technical concept or spending more time in PRs or even writing more documentation, definitely do that. Year of health could be like blocking focus time or cycling to work or wrangling the millions of notifications I get on GitHub every day. The point is it's broad enough to give you the framework to make those decisions. Okay, we've set our theme. Can I get some smiley faces or maybe rainbows in the chat if, for people on YouTube? So is that it? Is that the talk over? Well, I've got two tips to kind of really drive it home. So Mihei, that's the wrong one. Why is that slide different? That's interesting. So yeah, the AI has taken over. It's deciding, I don't know why that's showing different slides, but anyway. Let's switch through these a bit. All right. Mihei Csikszentmihalyi, I'm not going to pronounce his last name. All right. So this is the guy that recognized the psychological concept of flow states, or like some people refer to it as in the zone, head in the game, etc. He talks about something I love, which doesn't show up apparently. I don't know what's happened to my slides midway through this, but I think I'm going to push that through. There we go. So he talks about a concept I love called rig the game so that you're always feeling some sort of progress. The most motivating thing to do is to give yourself a tangible progress, a sense of progress towards your goals. So what does this mean in practice? Break your outcomes down into the smallest pieces possible. So using our year of reading example, we had, I want to read 12 new books, read a chapter. Like we can break it down to tiny pieces like I just want to read a chapter of a book, or I want to read a page of a book. Because it feels really good to tick off to-do items. And if you set it up for yourself to constantly tick off those items, you'll feel motivated to continue on. So tip one is break it down. And I really love how the beer kind of molds. Looks like the glass is liquid in this one. Tip two is pretty straightforward. Write down your theme somewhere where you're going to see it every day. Fridge, the toilet, your desk, whatever works. You just want to keep it front of mind. Side note, you get to see my amazing handwriting here and photos of my family with Santa that I haven't yet taken down. All right, that's it. Talk's over. So, to summarize, pick a theme, start with why, ideal outcomes, break it down, write it down. Now, a lot of these concepts come from different places that I've mashed together, but the two to mainly check out is CGP Grey really introduced the concept around this and runs a website called Theme System where they sell a journal, a paper journal to chuck your theme. You don't need it, but if you like paper, check it out. The main reason why I have the second link there is their podcast. They go into excruciating detail for hours about how they pick their themes and et cetera, et cetera. So if you're interested, those are definitely the links to check out. Lastly, the most important number, 48, is the number of beers that appeared in this presentation. Thanks, everyone. I'll open the floor to questions if anyone has any.
That was really good, Callum. Thanks.
Thank you.
One thing I've seen people talk about is, you know, the way the standard habit tracker apps that you'll get for your phone,
Yep.
and they'll normally display a grid of dots. And if you
Like
miss
my
one,
GitHub contributor.
yeah, it looks like that. So if you miss one, you feel really, really bad, and it kind of haunts you. It makes you think that's, you know, you've let yourself down, and once you've missed 2 or 3, you just go, well, oh well, I'm done now, and I give up. It's kind of like the gym thing. You know, if you miss a couple of days, you just give up.
Yeah.
And that's something that I struggle with a lot. You do like a couple of weeks of doing really well, and then you miss a couple, and then you're like, it's fine.
Yeah.
And this is a really great way to get around that, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, I've definitely fallen into that. The Duolingo bird has been blowing up my phone for months, and
it's all right. He's dead now. Apparently.
Yeah, I heard he's dead. Yeah, but you're right. It's it's not happened a couple of times, so fuck it. Like, what's the point, right? And I think this is why having that rigidity around goal setting just doesn't work for normal life. Whereas having that theme of, like, I want to learn language, so I'm going to have an ideal outcome of maybe have a conversation in language or be able to say 10 phrases in language will help you get to there, because then if you miss a week or two, like I'm sick or I'm hungover or something, I don't want to feed the bird, then maybe it allows you to restart later. Does she have a question? No. Yes? Need the microphone.
I just kind of wanted to ask where you got your, like, what tool did you use for the AI pictures this time?
Good question. I don't know, actually. I can figure it out. It was like, I literally typed in free AI generator.
I kind of do the same thing as well, but yeah.
But I ended up using DALL-E for some of them. Pretty much the free AI generator I used for ones that didn't require text, because DALL-E doesn't seem to be able to do text properly.
Oh, yeah.
DALL-E for the other ones.
I just wanted to ask, how about scale of how many themes that you might set up for a year?
Great question. Yeah, so I present this as year of, right? Like setting a theme for the year, but it doesn't have to be a year, right? It can be for a 3-month period. Maybe you're going through a transition. Maybe you just need to focus on something for a small bit of time. You can set it for a couple of weeks, for a couple of months, whatever, right? I wouldn't recommend running multiple themes at once. I do know people who set like a work theme and a personal theme, and that's totally fine. But as you kind of start to figure it out, the point here is the mantra of, I'm going to have this thing on my fridge that I walk past every day, and then I'm going to think, so my theme for this year is year of intentionality. So I'm going to think, what is the intentional choice that I'm going to make today, right? To come here, do a presentation to you guys, because this is what I want to do. Not just because they asked me and I went, oh, fuck it, I guess I should do that, you know what I mean? So you can run multiple at once. I wouldn't suggest it up front. Maybe it makes sense as you go, but it'll start to muddy that kind of decision-making framework, if that makes sense.
Can you adjust your theme along the way? Like what you were saying then in terms of like you want to pick one, could you sort of tweak it so it covers, I guess, more things, or so that thing on the wall is more in line with the direction you're heading, I guess? Yeah,
100%. I mean, this is for you at the end of the day, right? So we're like engineers, we iterate things as we go because we notice that they're not working or they could be tweaked to be better. Update as you go. And figure it out. And if the theme's not working for you, you can just bail on it and set a new one. That's the brilliant thing. So like my example from before of, I've missed a couple of weeks of feeding the Duolingo bird. Maybe I get 3 months in and go, actually, I started learning French and I really don't like it, or I'm not interested in language learning at all. And that's okay to just drop it out and start again. It's kind of like an agile delivery conversation, right? Cool.
That's it, I think.
Thank you so much. Nobody ran down the fire escape, so that's a good sign. Yeah. Oh, okay.
It's that way.
Excellent.
All right, thanks, Steve.
Thank you, guys.